So if we can just jump right into Jerry Springer.
I'm so tired of talking about Jerry Springer.
What do you want to not talk about it? We don't have to.
I was executive producer. I took it over and it was failing. It became the #1 show. It beat the hell out of Oprah. He became a pop icon. That's it. And I'm tired. I've done so many talks on it. There's a Netflix documentary coming out at Christmas time about the Springer Show and how I built it into. I'm so tired.
So you're tired, and we can just watch the Netflix documentary.
Watch the Netflix documentary. Watch the Netflix documentary.
So why do you think there's so much attention and refocus suddenly?
I don't know. I honestly, that's what I said to Netflix, and that's what I said last week. I did a podcast with these people who do these big podcasts.
Yeah.
And I say the same thing. Why does anybody care? It was, I don't know, 30 years ago?
So what do they say? 35
years ago. Oh, people still care. No, people don't care. You grab a 20-year-old off the street and ask them if they know who Springer is, they're probably going to say no.
Yeah.
Or say, oh, I think I heard the name.
Yeah.
Or, isn't he an outfielder? Because he is an outfielder, but not Jerry Springer. But so that's the thing. I've talked about it for so many years, and it's been so far removed from my life. It's like a whole nother.
Because you left in 2008.
Yes.
Yeah.
Left in 2008.
It seems like yesterday, but it's not.
And it just doesn't end.
It's a long time
and
ago.
I don't see the fascination.
Let's move on. Can we talk about the David Letterman interviews?
Sure.
So they're hilarious.
Thank you.
So how did you make your way to being a guest for the first time on the Letterman show?
I was working for The Sun, and I was writing the headlines, front page, exclusives. I was Bigfoot's love slave. And I could not sit in the office any longer. I can't sit anywhere. So I quit, but I made an agreement that I would freelance. Once a week I'd send in so many stories. So then my wife decided to, because at that time there were no emails and stuff like that.
Right.
She wrote a letter to the Letterman show and said, without telling me, I think my husband would make a great guest. This is what he does, blah, blah, blah. And then the phone rang and it was the Letterman show. And next thing you know, I was on it. And
that's
then
great.
They liked me and I got along with everybody. And I did 7 appearances.
So you were scouting the stories too, though, if you're a freelance writer. So at that point, you weren't just doing the headlines. You were interviewing the people. Would you hear something strange and then go investigate?
It was all made up.
Don't tell me that now.
Sorry. It was all made up. I had to make them up.
So you just made them all up from scratch.
Two-headed man debuts singing opera. Is that real?
Some people might think it is.
Well, they did. And that's why the paper was successful. And that's why it was on Letterman.
So you carried that shtick through.
Oh, yeah.
And watching Letterman look up at you and trying to see if you are really crazy?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I was 7 times. I lived in New York, so then it was easy if somebody dropped out at the last second, they needed a guest. Come on.
Oh, so you were kind of a backup.
Oh, yeah.
You'd get the call from a producer and say.
And, it was fun. And Letterman he's an odd guy, but he got along with me well. And I think he had a lot of Johnny Carson's attitude. Like when he had celebrities on, during the breaks would just get up and walk off. Wasn't a celebrities guy.
Right.
But when he had a normal person on, a person that, like Johnny Carson was known for the lady with the potato chips that, this is Winston Churchill and, that lady. He was always kind and nice and stayed with them during the breaks.
Right.
And that's how Letterman was.
Okay.
Anybody who was not a celebrity, he took a liking to.
Yeah.
And so me and him got along well. And if you look at the first one, I believe, and this is my pride, I'm happy about this. I believe I was the last talk show host guest to smoke a cigarette.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yes.
Because, the first show, you don't have a cigar. I don't think you were smoking cigarettes. Weren't you smoking cigars?
At that,
or both?
At that time, Probably just cigarettes.
I feel like it's a cigar.
No, the cigar interviews came with all the Springer interviews.
Okay.
No, this was my Camel cigarette period.
Yeah, because not a lot of people, I mean, you couldn't smoke. I mean, you could smoke publicly, but people didn't smoke on the Letterman show, right? They didn't smoke in the studio.
Yeah, I mean, you smoked on Johnny Carson, and I don't think many people smoked on Letterman.
Yeah, except you
and
did.
They were stopping smoking, but during the first break, I said, "Do you mind if I light a cigarette?" And you, go ahead.
All right.
And so I had a cigarette lit, and he pushed over the ashtray, which I thought was neat. And I think after that, nobody ever smoked anywhere.
Well, good for
The
you.
great thing about the Letterman show, may I just say real quickly, is that I got to meet and work with, eventually later on, great people in the business. Because you got to figure, the first time I walked on the Letterman stage, I'm coming from writing tabloids or teaching Hemingway. You know, I'm on television. I'm in the green room with Richard Pryor.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, those are the moments, more so than the actual appearance, is talking to Richard Pryor in the green room. Or Steve Martin. And I remember Steve Martin, this was his white suit period, and he was the biggest star at that time. And he very calmly, I had Eileen with me, my wife, that day, and he very calmly went up to her and put out his hand. He said, "Hello, my name is Steve." And I thought that was the coolest thing.
Yes.
You know, because everybody knows who he is.
Yes.
But he had nothing about him that was, oh, I'm a celebrity, I'm a big guy.
Yes. Tell us the story.
I won't tell the story step by step because I need you people to come see it. Because
otherwise,
why talk
it's not
about
live theater.
Right.
We're just rehearsing.
But I will say that it is a savage play. It is a funny play, sometimes, black humor, not ha-ha funny, not seltzer down the pants funny. It is about isolation. It's about abandonment. It's about longing. And this is why, to me, this play is very important. Everybody longs for the human touch, even if they don't want it, even if they're afraid of it. And the whole play is about his need and what is he afraid of and how it all blends together. Then at the end, there's this absolutely marvelous blood scream, and you think, oh my God, this is so tragic. But it's not. You just have to see it. It's three people. People say, you know, I read reviews on it, and they say, oh, it's a combination of Harold Pinter and a little bit of Sam Shepard. And it is, but I like to think of it as a Twilight Zone episode. Mm-hmm. This is a room, and we're watching what's going on in this room, and it's a little bit off kilter, and the characters are a little bit off kilter. They're in a cycle of life, and I just think it's a play that's very rarely done.
Yeah.
And I think it's a play that if somebody is putting it on, you really need to go see it. Because generally, you know, a lot of theater is, you know, singing and dancing and I got a hat, a top hat and a cane. And then you have a play like this that nobody has seen.
You know, it's part of the magic is finding a script that's beautifully written and then putting it together with a person that can direct it well. And then the final part is finding the actors who can portray the characters as, you know, I envision, you envision. And I think we nailed it with this one.
Oh, absolutely.
When I watched the rehearsals, I'm very excited.
This is a great cast, and you know, I'm not hawking this to hawk it. I really believe that people should come out and see it because it's a beautifully written play, and I don't think anybody else is ever going to do it.
So let's talk about your audition process because it is a little unusual. When we auditioned for Orphans, directors come in with a vision in their head of who they see portraying each character, and then you just hope and pray that that person comes through the door. So we had, a lot of really great people come through. But when Jose walked through, you said to me, you were like, that's him. That's
Right.
Treats. So he fit
perfectly. In fact, my audition style is not to read anybody,
yeah.
but is to sit and talk with the person. Do you know the play? Tell me about some of the plays you've done. I like to look in their eyes and get a feel for that person because I know who I want as the character. And I don't need to hear them read because my feeling is you read a monologue, you've been reading it for the past 3 years, you do it in front of the mirror, you could probably recite it while you're on fire at this point. I don't want to hear something like that. I want to just get to know the person and get an immediate feeling. And I don't think we've ever had bad casting. I think I've been pretty much on the mark on that because it's a much simpler procedure. You talk to the person, you look in their eyes, you get a feel from them. How do they enter the room? What do they have to say about the play? We had a person come in, we had, over the course of the 4 or so plays we've done, where they didn't know the play.
They hadn't read the play.
And now I can't do anything with this person.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what they think about the play.
Yes.
Here's an interesting story. Guy Sullivan is in the play. And when Guy Sullivan first came to audition for 12 Angry Men, he had played one of the roles before, so I would not give him that role if I cast him. It would be a new role. But I asked him about the character he played, and I gave him my opinion, which differed from him. So we had a little bit of a back and forth. When he left, I said, this guy's an asshole.
Is he here?
No,
He might be.
Might be. Oh, he knows the story.
Yeah.
And then the second night, at the end of the first night, I said to you, call that guy back because I want to see if he is an asshole. Because, there was something there.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to put up with a guy that I want to, give a beating to.
Right.
So he came back the next night and it was okay. And so we cast him. We cast him in a very important role. If you know the play, Juror Number 3. And when he first came in, my attitude was, this guy's an ass. His attitude was, this director's an ass. And we ended up getting along well. We've worked together there, Cuckoo's Nest, and now here.
Yeah, and now you're good friends even outside of theater. You guys thought each other were asses, but you were both very intrigued by each other.
Well, I appreciated what he brought to the table.
Yeah.
And that's important when somebody is acting. And it's also important in life.
3 songs played at your funeral.
The Ink Spots, one of my favorite groups, singing We'll Meet Again. Because I think everybody thinks, well, what will I play at my funeral? Though I won't have one, we're under orders to cremate me immediately. My Way, Frank Sinatra. And the third one, I don't know. I have to think about that. But I will not have a funeral.
Okay.
And it just actually in my will. I die, I'm dead. I go immediately, the next day, I'm immediately cremated, and I want to be put in a chock full of nuts can, because it's a heavenly coffee. And that's in my will.
Okay.
And my wife knows it.
And then the can will be placed.
I told her she could dump it anywhere she wants.
So, Richard, what makes you really happy?
Oh, my family, my wife, my children, my dogs, my cats, baseball, directing plays, smoking cigars, drinking lots of whiskey, at night by myself in the backyard with the dog, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nothing special. I was big, for a while, like, oh, I'm going to go boating, and I bought these big, stupid boats, and I, got rid of them.
They're a lot of hassle.
They are a lot of hassle. So yeah,
Just
no,
threw money away.
very simple things.
And don't you feed the skunks?
Yes. Oh yeah. I and I feed the squirrels and the birds and.
But don't you have a story of
Yes,
feeding
I fed,
Italian sausage to
yes, I
a
fed
critter that then
skunk.
a skunk? Yeah, okay, a skunk.
Skunks walked on my lawn. See, when the weather gets really cold, I still like to smoke the cigar at night. And my wife, you can't smoke in the house, and so I don't smoke in the house. I smoke in my car. I crack the window, you know, and sometimes if it's like 50 degrees, I can keep the windows down away. One or two skunks walk on my lawn. I thought I'm going to feed these poor guys. So I got pepperoni sticks. I chopped them up, and then I would throw them out.
Did they look hungry?
Like,
why were they poor guys?
There were skunks smelling the grass. I'm figuring they're looking for grub worms or something.
Okay.
So I would throw them the pepperoni, and they'd eat it up, and I thought it was great.
Okay.
But what they did is they let other skunks know that if you come here,
Right.
it's pepperoni time. And they eventually, one day, sitting in my house, I smell skunk. And I'm thinking, oh, it must be a skunk outside. But now it lingered on, and I realized a family of skunks dug underneath my front cement porch and went underneath it, and then built a nest against the wall of the house. So here's the house, here's the wall, and they're up against the warmth of it,
Right.
and they were living there. So
Yeah.
now I had to get rid of them
Aw.
because they're stinking up the joint.
So you shot them.
So I burned them.
You burned them. Did you learn your lesson?
No, I would feed them pepperoni, but on somebody else's lawn. But
You
no.
lure them away
Yeah, but no.
down the street.
I feed the rabbits, the squirrels.
Yeah.
I feed everybody, except my neighbors.
We are at 44 minutes so far.
We have 44 minutes left?
No, we're in
Oh,
44.
okay. Oh, chat. What do you want to know?
What do I want to know?
Or maybe you know everything. Maybe you're done.
I don't know.
What other questions do you have there?
Well, there are questions from your list. You could dine with two people, any people who are living. Invite two people to come see Orphans by name that haven't come to see a show here yet.
I don't know a lot of people. I can't answer that. If
You don't have to know them.
I'll answer it this way. Two people I would like to come see the play. My Uncle Anthony, because he's dead, and he was like a second father to me and helped me buy the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And we were very close. I would love for him to walk in the door.
Mm-hmm.
And the other person would be Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah.
And if I was sitting at a table, well, of course, you would say, okay, was Jesus the Son of God? So of course you'd want him at the table.
Yes.
Because you'd want to say, were you the Son of God?
Yes.
Or are you a guy that just got kind of railroaded? So yeah, you would do that. And the other dead person I might ask at the table, there's so many of them.
So, all right, so people come to see this play.
Yes.
What do you want them to be thinking, saying, as they leave the theater?
I want them to, the experience of Orphans is going to be different for everybody because it's a play of longing. What do I long? What do I want? What am I afraid of? What do I need? And I think that everybody in the audience, because everybody on this planet has those needs or some of those needs. So whatever that need is that person's sitting in, he or she is going to walk out thinking about that. Because it is a very powerful part of the play. It's a savage play. It's about isolation, and it's about longing, and it's about fear. And I think everybody will connect with one of those. And I think, so rather than say, give you the stock answer of, I hope they walk out and go, wow, that was great. I would rather them walk out thinking about the play and maybe learning something either about themselves or somebody in their family or a friend. But it's interesting. It's a play that when you act it and direct it, you don't think it. Mm-hmm. It's not a play to think. It's a play to feel and have emotions and passion. But as an audience member, it's a play to feel. Mm-hmm. It's to feel that emotion, to feel that passion. And that's what I want them to leave with.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Richard.
And a tip.
And a tip. Leave a tip.
Leave a little
director's
tip box.
Tip.
Yeah, a little.
In your coffee can.
A little bowl.
Your coffee can of death.
Coffee can of death.
Yes.
Yes. Give me a tip. That'd be nice. That's it.
Well, yeah.
All right.
We love you, Richard.
Well, I love you too. Thank you for getting me back in the theater.
Yeah. It's been my pleasure. We wouldn't be here without you.
Well, you say that to all the guys.
Ah, yeah.